Today I'm making a three-part analysis of the strangest developments of Charlie Kirk's assassination in the past 48 hours, especially about the reaction of TPUSA's Chief of Staff Mike McCoy the instant Charlie Kirk was shot. And in this video that you're about to watch, I'm going to analyze the explanation from the TPUSA dudes about Mike McCoy's behavior that, well, yeah, everybody is talking about. Again, this is going to be a three-part. This is the second part of this analysis. If you have not watched the first part in which I analyze the behavior of Mike McCoy the instant Charlie was shot, I'm going to give you the link to that video in the description of this one. I suggest that you watch that one first, so you see that, yeah, it really doesn't make sense. So you better understand how these guys are trying to explain the unexplainable. And in the third part of this analysis, I'm going to address that selfie video that this guy, Terrell Farnsworth, recorded by himself, selfie video, less than 1 minute after Charlie Kirk had been shot. Recorded a selfie video, and he was the one, the same guy who took down the SD cards, the cameras were behind Charlie less than 5 minutes after he was shot. Again, this is going to be the third part, but we are here to address this second part of this analysis. Update on Charlie Kirk. Andrew Colvett and Blake Neff addressed the controversial video of Mikey McCoy right after Charlie was shot. Again, I'm going to address this analysis right now. This is going to be a longish video. I'm sure that you are aware that this is not the usual length of my analysis, but I think this deserves that. I'm going to just play and at every moment that I see something, especially one very important contradiction from Blake, I'm going to chime in.
We got to do a little addressing of a video that went viral this weekend, and it's a video of Charlie's chief of staff. We made the decision that we wanted to address this head on because, you know, candidly, there's so much intrigue, and I'm gonna do a generous thing. The intrigue is because people care about Charlie.
One thing that I have never liked about Andrew Colvett, and you know that you can find my video about him on this channel, the body language guy, in which he doesn't pass the smell test for me. I don't know, I don't know, have bad vibes, can be anything. Maybe I just don't like the guy, but there's something truly off. And the other thing that I have noticed that it has been this constant reactive attitude to what is leaked online. It would be a bit, I don't know, more helpful if they just try to explain everything that happened one step after another, especially on their part, because I guess that, well, their actions should have nothing to do with Tyler Robinson, the alleged shooter of Charlie Kirk, and the investigation. And Blake was right next to Charlie, and he's going to spill a lot of details that he could have said perfectly weeks before, but he didn't until these videos pop up. So that is strange, that they keep just reacting to what pops up, and only when things pop up. It would be much better if they could just come forward with what they already know, because as Andrew Colvett is addressing himself right now, people care about what happened to Charlie. We care about what happened to Charlie, and we want to know the details. It's natural. It's natural. And besides, Charlie recorded every single debate, every single thing, everything is because he knew the power of, being transparent about everything. Again, well, let's continue. We have a long video ahead of us.
Okay, so that part I understand.
You're more generous than I'd be.
Yes, and that's fine. And I am going to give you the the floor here now, Blake, because you were there and you actually interacted with Mikey. You were with Mikey. You left the scene and then connected with Mikey. So
notice, left the scene and then reconnected with Mikey, and Blake interrupts him. Notice that. That is going to be important in just a couple minutes.
So explain what the video is.
All right. I'm not going to
set the scene.
I'm not going to wallow in it at length, but people have. It's gone viral and people have asked us to address it, and we're going to do so briefly. The video, without going way into it, is by, I can't even remember the guy's name. Someone made a video that is attacking Mikey, Charlie's friend, Charlie's chief of staff, a guy all of us know, a guy who we've seen on the show here the last few weeks. They are attacking him, claiming, based on a few seconds of clips, that he allegedly has like a nonchalant or calm reaction to Charlie's murder.
No, well, I analyzed that video, and it was strange how he just brought, the instant Charlie was shot, he brought his hand to his ear. It still my doubts. He had a phone, but it looks like he was on the phone with somebody. He didn't even have time to dial any number, and he just walks away. It's like he's saying that it's like this guy, Blake, is pretending that we did not see what we saw in that first analysis that I made. So that is a bit misleading.
And I'm just going to be blunt about this. This is a extremely disgusting attack.
It is not an attack. We are wondering why somebody in the instant, in the exact moment that his friend was shot, he just walks away. As in, there are many ways to be in shock, but what happened is no, this is not it.
And I can speak to that because I was there when it happened, and I was next to Mikey when it happened. And what I can say is, I can't say every single thing that happened, but I want to talk about this specific narrow thing, that the shooting occurs. I am next to Mikey. Both of us hear a loud crack. We both turn. We both see Charlie, who has been shot.
Wrong, because you see in my first analysis that Mikey McCoy did not turn. He was literally next to the curtain, was behind Charlie, and the instant the bullet hits Charlie, he just brings his head to his hand to his ear and walks right behind the curtain. There's no leaning forward to try to make out what really happened to Charlie, who tried to, what is going on? It's the instant. So, something that even the people, you see the reaction of the people around Charlie was in front of Charlie, sorry. You see that they stay standing up for a second and a half, and then they drop to the ground. That is normal because your brain is still trying to figure out in that second and a half what is going on. But no, Mikey McCoy just at the precise instant, less than 1 second. We are talking about milliseconds. He just brings his hand to his head and walks away. That's what happened.
Both of us, I think at about the same time, realized that means there is a shooter who is on the scene.
Notice what this guy is doing. He's trying to mimic or try to transfer his experience to Mikey McCoy's experience, which is misleading. One thing is his experience, one thing is what we see in Mikey McCoy's behavior. So this is pretty misleading.
And you just hear the crack.
He's repeating about the crack as well.
You don't know, did it come from far away? Did it come from close? Is there a mass shooter unfolding right now?
You are confused. You are confused, right? You don't know what to do in that moment. In that confusion will freeze you, for roughly 1 second and a half, or maybe 2 seconds. I think that did not happen with Mikey McCoy.
So I and him both had the reaction of, let's get out of here before we were both shot.
Okay, so how did you know what was the direction to go if you just said you didn't know where the shot came from.
That is not us abandoning Charlie.
No, nobody has said that. Nobody has said that you were abandoning Charlie. That is you saying those words.
Charlie had a security team. They all leapt immediately into action, and they got Charlie out of there, which was what their job was to do. My job was not to get in the way and screw this up because, like, I had to be a hero.
We're not talking about you, Paul, but again, if you saw my first analysis, you would confirm that the security team, even the security team was still in the process to getting up to Charlie when Mikey McCoy was already behind the curtain, was already away from there. It's just something baffling.
That was not my job. I remember even running past, both of us going past the SUV that we came in on, and me thinking,
okay, this is important. Listen to this.
That was not my job. I remember even running past, both of us going past the SUV that we came in on, and me thinking, should I get in that car? And then thinking, no, that's a really stupid thing to do. And then I kept going. So I was not with Mikey, or I don't remember being with him.
Notice that he first says, I was running, then he immediately changes his narrative to say, we were both running.
I remember even running past, both of us going past.
I remember running past, and then both of us running past the SUV that we came in.
The SUV that we came in on, and me thinking, should I get in that car? And then thinking.
Notice that he talks about himself. I was running, or both of us were running. Should I get in the car? Now he's talking about himself. Not, should we get into that car? He doesn't say, should we get into that car? My guess is that he was alone, that Mikey McCoy was not next to him. But this next part,
no, that's a really
important.
stupid thing to do. And then I kept going.
Then I kept going. I kept going, not we kept going. Notice that.
So I was not with Mikey, or I don't remember being with him. I think
I was not with Mikey, or I don't remember being with him. So were you two running side by side, both of you, as you just say, or you were not with Mikey? Which one is it? You are at a studio weeks after the fact. It's like I can understand that maybe your memories of the thing could be a bit blurry. But if you know that you're going to address this in today's show or in this show, then you at least would organize your thoughts so you can, say what happened, or at least what you remember, not some speculation if Mikey McCoy was or was not next to you running.
I think I was ahead of him as we left.
I think I was ahead of him as we left. Okay, yeah, makes sense because he says that he was running and we saw Mikey McCoy walking. It makes sense that Blake Neff, was ahead.
Left. And then we get out and I run for, can't have been more than 15 or 20 seconds.
He ran for 15 or 20 seconds. Keep that in mind.
And then I realized there hasn't been another shot, so the shooter has likely been detained or stopped or something.
That is a lot of speculation with the adrenaline that you would have in your bloodstream at that point. But again, that is not the point of this analysis.
Not in immediate danger.
You're still in immediate danger. So, well,
I pause, I look around me, and I see Mikey.
So he just said that he was ahead of Mikey, that he ran for 15 or 20 seconds. He pauses, he turns around, and Mikey is there. How exactly is that possible? If Mikey was walking and he had been running for 20 seconds, did Mikey just teleport to the place that Blake Neff was at that instant? Does Mike McCoy have teleportation powers? That would be interesting to understand how that happened.
And I see Mikey there, and truthfully, I will never forget what I saw because I've seen Mikey almost every day for the past 2 years. I know his personality very well. He's a very bubbly guy. He's a very happy guy almost all of the time. And I'll never forget what I saw because it was clear in the moment that he was profoundly freaked out. What I'll always remember is the way his lip was quivering, which I'd never seen before.
So he was literally next to Mikey McCoy, because if you are able to see somebody's lip quivering, is that well, you're literally next to them. So how does that work?
And you very rarely see from someone that he was freaking out. And then I think he literally said to me, I might be imagining this, but
I might be imagining this. you wait a second, Paul. Wait a second. What kind of mess? You see that there's a video going viral on the internet. You see that the chief of staff of TPUSA, with every single conspiracy that is out there, brimming with this magma of, I don't know, theories and crazy stuff and all the stuff around. You're making a show to, set the record straight and explain Mikey McCoy's behavior and what more or less happened. And you're going to say the words, I might be imagining this. You understand that that's not how, okay, let's clear this up works? That I was watching this and I couldn't believe watching this is, what are these people doing? What are they thinking that they are doing? I have no idea, but this doesn't make sense. I wouldn't say that this doesn't add up, but I will say that this doesn't make sense from any perspective. Man died. If I said before that Andrew Colvett doesn't pass my smell test, Blake Neff trying to explain where was he and where was Mikey McCoy, trying to explain the video that we saw in my first analysis, this is even worse. Now I trust Andrew Colvett more because of Blake Neff. How about that?
I think what he literally said was, he was looking around, and then he says, I need to call Erica.
I need to call Erica. So he's saying that at least 30 seconds had passed. And at this point, Mikey McCoy was not on the phone, because that's when he says that I need to call Erica. But yeah, it absolutely looks like he was on the phone at that moment. And I'm not going to go back to that first video, that first analysis. But the other theory is that I think that he mentions here that he was covering his eyes, his ears. But let's watch this.
And then he takes his phone and he begins calling Erica. And I don't want to.
Yeah, that pacifying gesture that he did, that touching his mouth, it doesn't mean that he's lying, but I think that you could say that he's not exactly sure, but he can't be sure that Mikey McCoy was actually calling Erica at that moment.
I don't want to disclose how that call unfolded, but
I don't want to disclose how that call unfolded. Why? If it was Charlie Kirk's instructions to call Erica, if that happened, what would be the problem of saying that, he called Erica? What would be the secret about that? That's something that I don't understand. And I have no idea how could that taint the investigation.
He did that, your mind extends all of this, but that is happening within a minute of all of this occurring. I remember he calls Erica. Around the same time, I pull out my phone and I call my mom just to say, Mom, there's been a shooting. You're going to see it on the news. I'm okay. Pray for me. I've got to go. And I remember that call. And around the time I put that phone away, and then he immediately calls his dad. He calls Rob McCoy. And he says, Dad, someone shot Charlie. You need to call all of your pastor friends. Charlie.
You remember that this dad claimed at a sermon that his son was a splatter or something in blood, which was not true. That is part also of my first analysis.
Was hit. We need everyone to pray right now. And that's what he told him. And I guess it's very disgusting for me as someone who witnessed this, who saw Mikey hugely distressed and then step up in the moment, because after that call was over, I saw Mikey get total mastery of himself, that he realized he had to step up in this situation. And
so he noticed that how much time has passed. So apparently Mikey McCoy spoke to Erica Kirk for how many minutes? Maybe you could say like 2 minutes. I get back to you and I have more information because we already know that Mikey McCoy would have no idea, not even what was the severity of the thing, which I already mentioned on my first video, that it would be insane for somebody to call, you know, the loved one of somebody who has been shot, not knowing what really happened, not knowing if the severity of the shot, because Mikey McCoy could not know the severity of the shot and just tell Erica, you know what, your husband has been shot. I have no idea, no more information about that. I don't know if I don't know, a grazing of his ear or on an arm or the head. You know what, I really don't know, because we saw that Mikey McCoy could not have possibly seen the condition, the status of Charlie when he was shot, because he just went away in the exact moment. So this guy is saying that he was next to Mikey McCoy during that uncomfortable call with Erica Kirk and his call with his dad, and then his narration continues. How long did they stay on the same spot, or were they walking side by side? How did that unfold? It doesn't describe it. There's so many gaps on this recollection.
At that point, he was like a general directing a battle where he was, you know, grabbing people and saying, "Okay."
Now they're trying to, you know, brown nose this Mikey McCoy guy, that he was this general leading, that he was this great guy, was a very important guy. Do not mess with him. Do not ask questions about Mikey McCoy, because the guy was, I don't know, Napoleon in battle or something like that.
We need to get to the hospital and we need to do these things, and you guys need to wait here. I need to get in here to get information.
Again, that is a bit misleading, because in the timeline of events, Charlie was already on a SUV towards the hospital. So it was silly for him to say that McCoy said, "We need to get to the hospital." Well, I guess that says he meant him and whatever else, but the most important thing would have been Charlie to get to the hospital, not them, because they're not doctors.
I need to get in here to get information so that I can get it to Erica.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that would make so much more sense. You need information. You need I don't know, actual, tell Erica this is bad, or it was just a flesh wound or something like that. But no, it's again, this is bananas.
And when we learned he was dead, he came out and he told us, and then he says, now none of you can say anything that you've heard, because Erica is not going to hear about this from anyone except me.
Can I ask a question? I've just been thrown into this 10 minutes ago, but there's a suggestion online that Mikey, Charlie's chief of staff, one of the most sincere people you'd ever meet.
One of the most sincere people that you ever meet. Why would you have to add all that? We saw the video. We want, you know, some kind of explanation about the video, and no, this Blake Neff spoke for, I don't know, 4 minutes, and he did not give any explanation about the video either.
A brilliant, Christian, kind, everyone he ever met in his entire life, couldn't hurt a fly, was part of a conspiracy to murder Charlie.
Wait. At least from me, I have never said that this guy, Mikey McCoy, is part of a conspiracy to assassinate Charlie Kirk. I'm just saying that his behavior is the most bizarre thing that has absolutely no explanation. Absolutely no explanation.
That's what's going on.
Yeah. It's vile. It's utterly vile.
Who would do this? Like, what type of individual? Just to create content, do we think, or is there some? What's the ulterior?
I don't know. I think a lot of this mindset just sort of fuels itself. It's sort of addictive in the same way a lot of social media stuff is addictive, or in the way like honestly something like pornography is addictive or something. Like they get really they almost get a high off of like the idea of like that they're doing something that's daring or out there.
Yeah, and I want to make one other point though, and this is actually to your point. You saw Mikey do heroic things that day. I saw Mikey do heroic things. I was not on.
Andrew Colbert was not on site, but he saw Mikey. With his mind's eye, he saw Mikey McCoy do heroic things as well. But I don't know. These people are great. They're not only great at at this stuff. They know teleportation. They know how to watch with your mind. These people are the X-Men
on site. But I immediately flew to Utah. We got a plane. I mean, it's not something that I'm used to, but it was like my wife went with me. We went straight over. I knew I needed to be with Erica and the team immediately just because, I just knew. But that moment when I got the news, I was so shell-shocked. I was not even there, but I was immediately traumatized. My brain fries like an egg.
It was normal. It is normal. So imagine you're shell-shocked, you're not even there, you're receiving the information through a text or a call, and you are frozen. Then how did Mikey McCoy react the way that he did? He was literally next to Charlie. I don't know what Andrew Colbert tried to do here, but it was not the thing that he thought it was going to be.
I can't see straight. I can't think straight. All I knew is that what's happening. My wife came in. She hugged me. We started crying together, and I can't even remember those moments very clearly. I wasn't even there. Mikey was two
Mikey's
steps
talked
away,
about that,
and I asked him. I was like, "Do you even remember the moments after?" He's like, "I can't even really remember. I know I called Erica. I know I called my wife. I know I called my dad."
Okay, now he also called his wife. All right.
I can't even really remember the steps I took. I can't. But here's the last thing I want to make a point of. And because Charlie had given me similar instructions along the years, said if anything ever happens to me, you call Erica.
Yeah, that's the other thing.
And he drilled that into Mikey's brain so that when this moment of trauma happened, that he turned around and he knew he had to do it. And by the way, last thing, because this is part of the video allegations here, is that they think they're alleging that he was on the phone immediately. He was not. He was taking social videos, which he would send to our group chat, which we would then put on Charlie's social while the event was happening, so you could see the crowd come in or his interactions. And we were only 2 questions into this event.
Well, we saw. I'm going to play that for you because that absolutely takes this what Andrew Colbert is saying. It's contradicting what happened. I'm going to show you here. If you saw my first analysis, you see that black square means that Charlie has not been shot. Red square means that Charlie has just been shot. This is Charlie has just been shot. This figure that you see here, this figure in a white sweater, a long sleeve shirt. Here's the black box. When it turns red, is that Charlie was shot. I'm gonna move frame by frame. Was shot, and he immediately brings his hand to his left hand to his ear. Immediately does that. Okay? Immediately does this. All right? So I think that there's a lot of a huge contradiction. I'm gonna play the call that thing again.
Is that they think they're alleging that he was on the phone immediately. He was not. He was taking social videos, which he would send to our group chat, which we would then put on Charlie's social while the event was happening, so you could see the crowd come in or his interactions. And we were only 2 questions into this event, so he was still getting it out to all the chats.
He was messaging a lot. He was not filming. We have a video. There's a longish video there. I'm gonna show it to you right now. I know that this video has been dragging from. This is not the usual length of my videos, but I want you to notice that this guy, this was Mikey McCoy. Yeah, he was doing a lot of stuff in his phone. A lot of the stuff, but most of it was not shooting video. So again, that is a bit misleading on Andrew Colbert. You see that he's messaging a lot. You might be writing a caption or something, but it's not that. It doesn't even answer the question that how come he brought his hand to his ear the instant that Charlie was shot, and he just walked away. They have not addressed the fact that he walked away the instant Charlie was shot. They want to explain this all that they want, but they can't.
Into this event. So he was still getting it out to all the chats he needed to do, which he did at every event. He turns around, and it was so blaringly loud, I'm told. You would know this better than I, but this is what I'm told. It was so blaringly loud, and he was so shell-shocked, he put his fingers in his ear, but his phone was still in his hand. He walks away, and
not even walk. I want to, because people are talking about that. The way it was is we had a cordoned off area with grates, so you had controlled access. All the people, when this happens, they all get the idea we should leave before we are shot, and so there's a little narrow gap that I think people. It's not really walking; it's that everyone has to slow up to get through this little narrow choke point to get out of the area. And
anyways, well, the point is he walks briskly.
And now he walks briskly. They want to justify in some way or another that we saw the guy with our very own eyes literally walking. They try to, he walks briskly, and no, he was just bringing his, he said that, his fingers to his ears.
Because people are talking about that. The way it was is we had a cordon off.
No, it was a bit.
I'm told. You would know this better than this is what I'm told. It was so blaringly loud, and he was so shell-shocked. Put his finger.
He was shell-shocked, and it was so loud that he brought his fingers to his ears, right? Because that is I don't know. I don't know. Okay. I don't know how would I react to a shooting. But one thing that I don't know, I have never seen. I have seen a lot of footage of people reacting to a shooting. And I don't know. I think for me, maybe you can help me in the comments, but I have never seen somebody walking away covering their ears because it is too loud, because our first impulse, our brain enters in overdrive mode and uses our vision, our ears, everything around us to assess the threat. Like covering our ears, okay, maybe some people with some degree of autism can react like this, but I don't think that if you are at that level of autism, you're going to be the chief of staff of TPUSA. How are you going to cover your ears? And the instant, it's like, by the way, we saw the reaction. There was the crack, and then 1 or 2 seconds later, the people began realizing what happened, and then they went to the ground, and people began yelling. So the loud noises did not start until 1 or 2 seconds later. But this guy, before 1 second into Charlie's shooting, he brings his fingers to his ears, and this guy wants us to believe that. Again, you can explain many things. You cannot explain the timing. You cannot explain the time. These people are trying to cover up for some really strange behavior from this Mikey McCoy guy. Let's keep watching this.
He put his fingers in his ear, but his phone was still in his hand. He walks away, and he's
not even walk. I want to, because people are talking about that. The way it was is we had a cordoned off area with grates, so you had controlled access. All the people, when this happens, they all get the idea we should leave before we are shot, and so there's a little narrow gap that I think people. It's not really walking.
Well, you see the other people around that guy, and the people were like, there's distress. This guy was not distressed.
It's that everyone has to slow up to get through this little narrow choke point to get out of the area. And
anyways, well, the point is he walks briskly.
And by the way, it's like they say on one hand that they did not have this, they had this trouble remembering the details. How does Andrew Colvett know that Mikey McCoy covered his ears with his fingers because we don't see it expressly on the video. So it means that somebody told him, Mikey McCoy told him. So Mikey McCoy has memory of what happened, and he's not speaking for himself. He was not invited to this show to talk about that. How does Andrew Colbert, who was not there, know what happened if everybody seems to have a fuzzy memory of the event, which would make sense? So which one is it? You either have a fuzzy memory of the event, or you do know what happened and are trying to explain it with a very stupid explanation. Pick a lane.
It does. I don't even care if he's walking, running, whatever.
I don't really notice that. I don't even care if he's walking, running. That is not important here. Yeah, that is actually important. That is the whole point of the video.
Because, again, the most traumatic thing you could imagine had just happened to him.
No, well, the most traumatic thing happened to Charlie, not him.
My brain fried. I cannot imagine what was going through your guys' head being on the scene and seeing it and knowing, again, the security guys are jumping in. He turns and he, like, I'm telling you, Mikey that day turned into a general on a field, marshaling the troops going. But like, for a second there, obviously he didn't know what to do. And then he clicked into gear eventually. It was amazing.
Oh, so amazing after, but let's not address what happened before that amazing moment.
Mikey was a heroic figure on that day. And I really want anyone who finds like these narratives attacking him to be remotely credible to really, really stop and think about what you are doing. Because what you are doing is bad and it is gross and it is a choice.
No, it is not bad. It is not gross. We're asking questions. You're trying. I can understand you're trying to explain this. You're trying to explain this. There is a very bad explanation. And it's something that doesn't make sense. It's like this. Blake Neff said the words, I might be imagining this. Andrew Colbert acknowledges that he wasn't there, but he absolutely 100% knows that this Mikey McCoy guy put his fingers to his ears because of the loud noise, all right? Even before the loud noise started. Again, there was a crack, okay, because you hear the crack of the rifle, which is not next to you. It's 140 yards away, so it's not that loud. You hear the crack. You see what happens to Charlie, and the loud noise of people screaming because people need some time to realize what happened. People's brains need some time to realize what happened, and then you see that they drop like 2 seconds later, and they begin screaming 2 seconds later. But no, this guy brings his fingers to his ears before 1 second has passed. And somehow Andrew Colbert knows the details of that because I guess that Mikey McCoy has perfect memory of what happened. And not only that, he was not invited to this show, or he was not invited to, you could, maybe, he couldn't make it to the show. Okay, record some kind of video on a phone like anyone can do and try to clear this up. What was the order of events? Because if you could tell Andrew Colbert that you covered your ears because of the noise, then you remember roughly what happened at that moment. And the walking briskly, that is so bad, man. That is so bad. Well, remember that this is the second part. This is the second part of a 3-part analysis that started with the video itself of Mikey McCoy doing that crazy stuff just right after Charlie Kirk was shot, which doesn't make any sense. This is the analysis of the TPUSA guys. And the third one is an upcoming video of this dude recording a selfie right after Charlie was shot. This is the one who took the camera down, remember, that took the SD camera. 2 minutes into Charlie being shot, he recorded this selfie. selfie. So make sure to like and subscribe to the Body Language Guy so you don't miss my third video on this 3-part analysis. Let me know what you think about this in the comments. And I apologize for the long video, but it was necessary. My name is Jesus Enrique Rosas. I'm the Body Language Guy. Much love and bliss.